In case you guys are wondering, I want to die a little bit. Hey everyone, today we're taking a look at some masks and specifically the lens change systems of those masks. Obviously, sometimes you got to change your lens either to clean it or to replace it, or you just want to go with a different color or something like that. And some masks make that very easy, some masks not so much. So today we're going to take a look at the not so much masks, the ones that have, in our opinion, the worst lens change systems ever. So, taking a look at the top three, number 3 worst lens change ever is the Dye i5. And I love the Dye i5. I think this is one of the best masks out there. But for current lens change technology, it leaves a lot to be desired. And I'm going to show you how to do it. So, you have these little gray tab thingers that are on the, basically at the back of the lens. You've got 2 on the top, and then you actually have 2, you probably can't see this, but they're in there. There's 2 on the bottom as well. In order to remove the lens, you do have to push all 4 of those forward. So you got to push down on them and then push forward with them. Sometimes not so bad. That one went really easily. I did it with my finger, but you'll find, I mean, most of you guys that have an i5, I'm sure you agree with this. When they're very new, it's like so hard to push these in. See, I'm having trouble with it right now. If it's a really new mask, it's gonna be really, really hard to push in. When I first got mine, I honestly had to use a screwdriver most of the time, and it took a while before like that went away. Even when it does break in, I can attest to this right now, it sucks, it's not fun. So once you've pushed all 4 of them forward, I'm pretty sure that's it. Pretty sure I got all of them. You're basically gonna grab this blue thing and then you're gonna turn it in like this. If it turns, then you got both of the tabs. If it doesn't turn, one of those tabs is still being a jerk to you. Once you have both of those flipped in like that, things get easier. Basically, you're just gonna push the back of the lens comes out like that. Now, the reason this is number 3 on our list and not number 1 is because the hard part is getting the lens out. Putting it back in is actually like pretty easy. It's not a big deal putting it back in, so like gets bonus points for that. So we're gonna feed it back in there, make sure it's all lined up. You're then gonna take your little hinge, push it in. If you feel it kind of click into place, it's good. If it doesn't click into place, if it feels like it's not engaging, that probably means that one of these little tabs has popped into the back position and you gotta fiddle with that again. Once it's clicked into place, you're just gonna grab it, and you're gonna pull back. You may have to wiggle it, and those little tabs will pop back into their regular position. I think I got that one. There we go. And there you go. So, as you can see, putting it back in is not really a big deal. Taking it out, kind of annoying. So the next one we're gonna take a look at is also a dye mask, and that would be the Dye Axis. Now this is definitely worse than the i5. So your first step is basically you're gonna grab where the strap actually attaches to the mask and then you're gonna rotate it upward. It's a little hinge thinger. So rotate it up, then you're gonna push it on the inside and it should pop right out. So far so good. Do it to the other side. Now they can be stiff and sometimes you may have to struggle with it, essentially. Come on, baby. There we go, there we go. All right. Not so bad, but trust me, it gets worse. Once you have this fully removed, there we go. All right, once that's done, then you're gonna basically grab this whole liner thing, I don't know what to call this, frame is a good word for it, and you're gonna rotate it forward like that. It just pops out like that. So far so good. The lens just drops out, change your lens, clean it, do whatever you gotta do. Now things get tricky. So you basically line these 2 pieces up again. Make sure they're relatively like snug together, otherwise you're gonna have a rough time. You're gonna take this little nose hinge, feed it into the nose, and then just kind of push down and try and make everything pop into place. There's a lot of little plastic teeth and you have to push down into the actual face part of the mask like that. And yeah, you just kind of struggle with it. There's no better way to put it. There we go. You'll feel things sort of pop into place, sort of. Once you've got it kind of lined up where you're like pretty happy with it, you're gonna feed this part back in. That'll keep it sort of lined up properly. It means one side doesn't pop out while you're working on the other side. There we go. Make sure everything looks okay, like it's not gonna pop off on you, you know, in the middle of a game, because that would be bad. And rotate these back into place. There we go. All right. So not fun at all. And it also, like, this one specifically doesn't, it doesn't give me confidence. It always feels like it could just like pop out. It probably, I'm sure it won't. This is, you know, high-end safety equipment, but like, it always feels like it's just not in properly. Like there's little gaps and stuff. I don't know. I don't like it. Anyway, moving on. The worst of the worst, bottom of the barrel, #1 most awful lens change system ever. And that is the JT Spectra, although there are other masks out there that have the same kind of system. If any of you guys have ever owned a Dye i3 back in the day, you're probably still having nightmares about that. It was the worst, and this is the same. So I'm gonna show you exactly why. So the first thing you wanna do is take your sun visor off, because this is actually very much gonna get in the way, so you gotta get that off. Yeah. Then, essentially, this frame is made of like a soft plastic, and it's attached to the lens itself with a bunch of these little prongy things. Prongs, I'm gonna call them prongs. They're basically little pieces of plastic that go out like this. And to get it out, you essentially just have to pry it all off. And there's no not awkward way to do this. Like, you don't wanna use any kind of tools, obviously, because you'll scratch your lens, but there you go. I popped the top one off. You wanna start with the top one, and then you just kind of work your way around and just sort of keep prying. And it'll pop off. As you can see, that's what I mean by prongy thingies. There we go. And then you wanna just keep prying, essentially. Like there's no not awkward way to do this. There we go. And you essentially want to work your way to the nose, and you want the nose to be the last part. Oh geez. Oh geez. Oh my God. If you feel like you're gonna snap your lens, you're doing it right. Oh my God. I'm like destroying this. Oh my God. This is the worst. Come on. Oh. Yeah. As you can see, I've like half disassembled the entire mask in the process. So that's what you got to do to get it out. And then getting it back in is even worse. Like, I'm actually like, I don't want to do this, guys, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you. That way, hopefully, no one ever buys one of these. So I'm going to try and put that back on. So, yeah, I got it out. I've done what I need to do. Hope it was worth it. I just got to get this back in. So I don't know if there's any like trick or anything like that. I believe you really do want to start with the nose, because I think the nose is going to be the hardest part to deal with. But like, I don't really know. Actually, you know what? I know I just did this, but you may actually have an easier time if you do sort of separate the faceplate from the frame, because the frame is squishy. So you can actually work with the frame a lot more if it's sort of a little bit removed. But if you think there's some way to do this without struggling, you would be mistaken. This is gonna take a while. We're probably gonna fast forward through this, so yeah. Okay, so lens is back in. God, I hated that. Last step is putting on your big dumb sun visor, and then, and then we're done. So yeah, that was the worst. I hated every second of it. I'm sure you guys can tell that. Yeah, that is, in my opinion, the #1 worst lens change ever that has ever been conceived. I don't know who made this up. I don't know why he was so angry at the world, but like, this is there's no excuse for this. This is just the worst. So if you're considering buying one of these masks, consider that, because like if you have to change your lens, you're gonna hate every second of it. But yeah, those are the top 3 worst lens changes for current masks. I know there's some masks from the past that had some really, really rough lens changes, but for the ones that you can get right now, in my opinion, that's the top 3. What do you guys think though? Do you have any like suggestions? Do you have any other like contenders of masks that you think that like definitely deserve a mention in terms of having a terrible lens change system? If you do, let us know in the comments, like, subscribe, hit the buttons, and thanks for watching.